What's up, everybody? SimplyCaz here. I hope everybody's having a great day. For you guys who may be having a tough time, know that there's beauty in the chaos. That's one of my most favorite things to say in my tough times, because in every tough time you could kind of find a good spin on things. So I hope you guys continue to have a great day. Now, today's video is going to be about the topic: do you really need these exorbitant speeds that you see other gaming YouTubers online showing you with their 100, their 500, their 1 gigabit internet speeds? These internet speeds that you probably never saw in your life, but you see it online, and you said, well, that's the reason why they're so good at their video games, and that's why I'm not good at my video game. But actually, that's not totally true. All right, now I'm gonna go as deep as I could with it, but keep it as simple as I could. All right, there's a few variables to having a good, smooth gaming experience, but just to debunk the first part, do you really need that fast internet, that super fast speed, and you pay this $200 and you pay this 100 and some bucks just on internet? Do you really need it? I'm gonna answer that quickly: no. And this is why you don't need it. Going on to one of the most well-known internet service providers, streaming services, etc., Xfinity, on their website. This link is going to be in the description below, so you can read the entire article. But on this article, they spoke about video games and the different minimum requirements for each video game to have a smooth online gaming experience. And as you can see, from the Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4 and PC Max, they need a minimum requirement of about 3 megabits per second. Most people's cell phones have more than 3 megabits per second download, and that's all you really need. But I do recommend around 10. All right, and when it comes to the minimum upload between all of those systems, including the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, they range from about 0.5 to 1 megabit per second to have a smooth upload. And if you guys don't know, the download is important to get the information from the internet service provider and the service of whatever game you're playing from playing on, and the upload is important to send your information back. So hit markers, green light shots, etc., that's a part of your upload, but the download is what your competition is really doing, and that's important. But a lot of people have this misconception that you need to have these exorbitant speeds, and I'm kind of guessing because they said that these games are really pretty. These games have like ultra HD graphics, etc., and you need to have a lot of downloads so you can download this information. That's not true, guys. It's all a myth. The entire game is on your system already. All you're doing is transferring data to have that whatever character is on the screen move from this point to that point. That's it. The character is already on your game. You just need the information from the server to on your system, which is downloaded, and you need their system to have your information that you're sending out, which is uploading, and that's all you need. Now, ping is one of the most important things when it comes to video games, and all these systems require at least 150 milliseconds or less. If it goes over that, you're gonna have the tough time trying to find a match. But a great example of ping is pretty much my competition is at point A, I'm at point D. At point B, notice I skipped C. At point B is our internet service provider, the servers or whatever game you're playing on, Call of Duty, 2K, whatever. And the distance between me and point B, because I'm at D, is C. But the distance between A and B, which is his internet service provider and the servers, is nothing. It's just 1 step. So I have to take 2 steps and he has to take 1. So the ping for him would be a lot less, which is better. The closer you get to 1 millisecond, 1 millisecond is better. And obviously my ping will be a lot higher, maybe around, I don't know, 70, 80, 100 pings. So it's that slight delay in reaction time. That's what ping really is. How quickly can your information get to the server? And the first one to get the information to the server could potentially win that gunfight or that matchup when it comes to whatever game you're playing on. So this has already debunked that you don't need super fast internet speeds to play video games. But now let's get into what is truly important. believe it or not, I had a really fast internet service provider. Well, not really fast compared to world standards, because I don't live in the United States, I don't live in the UK, I live in the Caribbean. And because I have, you know, I guess I use cable, right? We have cable internet and we have DSL internet. We have two different companies with two different types of internet. But believe it or not, I had a worse time using cable internet because it wasn't as stable. Stability is actually one of the most important things when it comes to internet. Stability is more important than speeds, because if you're just gaming, these are all the minimum requirements you need, but you do need a stable internet connection. What a lot of people don't know is that there's another variable when it comes to internet that's not on this chart, and it's called jitter or buffer bloat. And what that really is guys, okay, let's say you have a 30 megabits per second internet package with a 6 upload. This was one of the packages of my cable provider. This was actually the standard package. Yeah, that's good. That's higher than the package that I have now, because the package that I have now is only about 16 download and about 3 upload, and that's a lot less. But the problem with the higher cable internet was it was really inconsistent. It was a lot of buffer bloat, it was a lot of jitter. So yes, it went as fast as 30 bits per second, but how long does it stay to 30 megabits per second? And when it drops down or jitters, how far does it go down? It's really unstable. All right, that's one of the contributing factors to lag. You may have as much internet as you could possibly pay for, but if you don't have a consistent connection that all the time jitters or stags, it will lag eventually. Versus when I went to DSL, which was about half the speed of everything that I got on a cable connection, although I had less speed, I met all the requirements comfortably for my video games, and I'm able to have a stable connection and I'm not lagging when it comes to SpeedTest.net. So if you go on SpeedTest.net and you run a speed test, like right now, I run it right now. Look at how my speed test is actually running. All right, it's gonna first tell you your pings, and once you have less than about 100, you're pretty solid. So right now it's 63. For the most part, it's around 45. So today is a bit worse, but maybe that's because I have my settings changed up on my Duma OS on the Netgear router that I have as a gaming router. But you see how straight that line is? That's stability. That's a sign of stability. And I'll watch my uploads. My uploads goes as high as 3. Do not mind these speeds, because like I said, my Duma OS, a gaming router software that I use, actually dumb down these speeds for this particular PC that I'm using, because I prioritize my video games and so on to have more of a say. So if those games or those systems are running, this is going to take a step back. So this is probably why it's not the full 16 or the full 3 megabits per second, but that's still good. If you look at the line, you pretty much, that's a very straight line, right? And let's go on to the DSL Reports website. So DSL Reports website, this is actually more true than the SpeedTest.net. SpeedTest.net, it only really tells you the pings, downloads, and uploads. But a lot of people don't pay attention to jitters, and they don't pay attention to how straight this line really is. Most people, that line is so wiggly waggly all over the place, it looks like it's really dancing. But if you go on DSLreports.com, right? I'm going to leave that link in the description below, and you click on run test. The next thing you're going to have to click on is the type of internet connection you have. Mine, in my case, is DSL. If you're running cable, run cable. If you're running whatever, run whatever. But in my case, I'm running DSL, so I'm going to click DSL. All right. Now, what it's doing, it's going to give me my upload, download, and the next thing it's going to really focus on is buffer bloat, because we all know, like I said earlier in the video, everybody who has a really good cell phone package probably meets the criteria of a video game service, but when it comes to how stable the internet is, that's really important. My speeds went down to 9.45 for this particular computer. Like I said, it's all in my Duma OS operating system, so it's not going to give me all the speeds that I'm actually getting, but my PlayStation is going to get everything that I needed to get, because I have that as the #1 priority on my network. All right, so Buffer-bloat, they didn't give me a grade for Buffer-bloat. My overall is a B. I'm gonna test it again just to give it another try. For the most part, I always get an A on this, so to get a B is really bad. But which is strange is when I actually did this test on the on my cable internet, my Buffer-bloat and everything, my stability was an F. I got D's and F. I rarely got C's. C's was like C's was like the highest points I've been when I ran this test. And a lot of people think that because I have these higher speeds, my internet connection or their internet connection is better than mine. But actually, when it comes to video games, my internet connection is a lot better. And a lot of people don't realize how far Buffer-bloat goes with all that, because if you have a lot of Buffer-bloat, it's also going to affect your YouTube viewing or any type of streaming service. Although someone else has a higher speed, if they have a lot of Buffer-bloat and you have a lower speed with a stable connection, you're gonna have less buffering when it comes to any of these streaming services, not just video games. But as you can see, my second run around things, A straight across the board, super smooth. All right, now for the most part, whenever you're doing any type of streaming service like Netflix, etc., any type of live TV service or whatever, anything streaming, you mostly using downloads, so you don't need much of the upload. But once you have at least a 1 to 1.5 upload, you can sit comfortably on your video game and not have anybody bother you. And with the Buffer-bloat being super good, like the A right there, you should be pretty solid. But lastly, for you guys who have these exorbitant speeds but still have a tough time, and maybe your Buffer-bloat is really terrible, right? What you can do is, if you have a gaming router that has a Buffer-bloat in the QoS and the quality of service, like my Netgear Nighthawk, you can see it right here. I don't really need to use the Buffer-bloat because my internet's is so stable. But if you do have a anti-Buffer-bloat service in your router, you can pretty much lower your internet speeds. Let me show you. So I can lower my internet speeds to from 16 to, let's say, about 10. That space between 10 and 16 that I'm not using, it's gonna negate that, but it's gonna give me a stable 10, because okay, my speeds go as high as 30, hypothetically speaking. It goes as low as 21, so I want to have like 20. So I know that my 20 speed is gonna be very stable when it comes to my video games. I don't have to worry because it's gonna really stop that Buffer-bloat. But if you allowed it to just have 100% of the speed, when it reaches ceiling and then it drops down, that's gonna have a lot of lag in your video games. The same thing with upload. So guys, I hope I debunked that. And like I said, I'm going to leave all these links in the description below, but just to run through the entire thing, you don't not need super fast internet. You only need this, which is about 3 megabits per second download and about 1 megabit per second upload to run any of the most popular video games smoothly. You don't want to have more than that, because in a house of many persons, obviously if everybody's pulling on the internet, then it's less and less internet for each device, or that internet connection has to be spread amongst the whole house. In my particular case, it's just me, my wife, and my kid. My kid is only 14 months old, so he really does not need the internet, and my wife only watches TV and YouTube. So when it comes to my 16 download and my 3 upload, that fits me comfortably, and I play video games just as good as anybody else who has 100 download or 50 upload. Just a side note, for you guys who are interested in streaming on Twitch or YouTube or any one of those things, you want to stream in a high quality, this is when it's important to have a lot more upload. And you definitely do need an internet service connection that has at least the least amount of Buffer-bloat possible, because any little jigger jagger, you're gonna see it in your stream. On this article, if you look very down to the very bottom, you can see it mentions for streaming, hardwire connections are essential. Your minimum upload speed should also be around 4 megabits per second. So if you're uploading, the upload of that video on whatever streaming platform is a set of internet that it needs, and it needs at least 4 megabits per second. But that's aside from the 1 megabit per second that your actual unit has. So if you going on Twitch or you're going on whatever, I always recommend to have a lot more than you need. So try to get one of the packages that has at least, let's say, 6 to 10 upload. Unfortunately, internet service providers, they package in high downloads with high uploads, because the uploads being more valuable than the download. And you end up paying a lot more for the upload. All right, that's what I did. Hope you guys enjoyed your video, and I hope you understand everything that I said. And with that, guys, I'm out. Have a great day, and remember, there's beauty in the chaos.